I used to think betrayal sounded like a slammed door.
Loud.
Final. But that's not true. Real betrayal is quiet. It's the sound of laughter on a speakerphone when they don't know you're listening. It's your name dropped into the air like a problem that needs solving. That's how I found out my sister didn't want me on the trip. Not in an argument, not face to face.
No.
She tossed it out like a casual remark. She ruins the vibe. The way someone brushes lint off their shirt. Dismissive. Easy. And everyone else, they laughed. They agreed. Do you know what that kind of silence feels like? Not the silence in your room, but the silence when life goes on without you. The family chat renames itself Road Trip 25, while your little icon sits there untouched. Like a suitcase nobody remembered to pack. My name's Elias, 27 years old. The quiet one. The guy who remembers birthdays, drives people to the airport at 4 a.m., takes the photos, but always ends up cropped out of them. I learned early that silence can bruise worse than fists. And I learned that paper, deeds, signatures, contracts, never laughs at you. Don't take it personally, my mom said later, her voice all sugar and knives. Your sister just wants a drama-free trip. Drama-free. That's what they call it when your existence is the inconvenience. I looked at the suitcase already half-packed on my bed. New sunscreen. Shirts rolled neatly. Tags still crisp from the sale rack. I stared at the ceiling fan ticking like a metronome for humiliation, while the heat outside pressed its weight against my window. I didn't cry. I couldn't. Instead, I poured a glass of water, watched the bubbles settle, listened to the silence. But inside the hall closet, behind a blanket nobody touched, was something louder than all of them put together. A folder. Navy blue, brass corner frayed. Inside, one piece of paper that carried more weight than every insult, every omission, every family dinner I wasn't invited to. A deed. My name. My payments. My house. My sister had been calling it hers for years. My parents called it the family place. But the county, the bank, they called it what it was, mine. So while they packed their car for a vacation I wasn't welcome on, I laid the deed flat on the table, dialed a realtor, and said the words that would change everything. I want to list the property. For the first time in years, I heard something sweeter than an apology. Good for you, the realtor said. At your age, that's rare. Let's talk strategy. Strategy. That word sang through me. My sister didn't want me around?
Fine.
Let's see how she felt with no roof above her throne. That night, I walked barefoot through the house. The floor tiles clicked beneath me. Furniture she chose, laughter that wasn't mine, shadows of parties I'd never been invited to. I opened the fridge. Wine, cheese, luxuries I'd never buy because I budgeted while she indulged. My eyes saw sharper than ever before, dust on the ceiling fan, sticky rings on the counter, bills shoved behind vases. Betrayal sharpens your vision until you can't unsee. By midnight, her clothes were folded into donation bags. By dawn, the place looked less like hers and more like mine. I stood at the window, the sunrise painting the world in bruised orange, and sent one text, listed today. And just like that, a cut was made. Not fiery, not emotional. Precise. Surgical. Of course, silence never lasts. 2 weeks later, my parents were at my door, storm in their eyes. My father's voice was sharp enough to split the air. Open the door wider. My mother stood behind him, lips tight as scars. How could you do this to your sister? She hissed, perfume spilling into the room like smoke. Interesting, I said quietly. She never called me. Not once. Dad's jaw tightened. That house was for her. Everyone knew it. Everyone. That word again. Everyone but me. Everyone except the one who worked double shifts, signed the deed, carried the weight. I straightened my shoulders, and for the first time, my voice didn't shake.
No, Dad.
The house was mine. The county knows it. The bank knows it. The only people who don't are standing in front of me right now. They called me selfish. They called me cruel. My mother even spat the words, "We're ashamed of you." But here's the truth. You can't shame someone who's already lived in the shadows. Their words slid past me. Behind their anger, I saw what it really was: fear. Fear that the child they erased had finally found leverage strong enough to move them. And I wasn't done pulling. The fallout was immediate. Cousins.
Aunts.
Even an uncle from Florida I hadn't heard from in years. Everyone suddenly had something to say. They called me bitter, jealous, ungrateful. But I knew the truth. I wasn't breaking the family. I was just refusing to be its spare part anymore. The house sold. The ink dried. And when I held that check in my hands, I realized freedom doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes with slammed doors and unanswered messages. My parents came back one last time, not furious now, but pleading. "Your sister has nowhere to go," my mother whispered. "Can't you help her?" The old me would have caved. The one who drove her places, paid her bills, folded her sweaters. But that version of me was gone. I gave her years of footing, I said, voice steady. She chose to stand on my shoulders and call it her ground. Now she can learn what the floor feels like. Their faces froze, horror mixed with disbelief. To them, I'd become unrecognizable. To me, I'd finally become myself. That night, I sat on my balcony, city lights flickering in the distance. I thought about betrayal, about silence, about the moment a person finally decides to choose themselves. I looked out at the dark horizon and whispered the truth out loud, almost smiling. You wanted me out of the picture. Congratulations. I've drawn a new one without you.